Welcome to my journey through Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion. Yes, it's a long title. Crisis Core was the first Final Fantasy game I played ever, back on PSP. Later on I got Final Fantasy XIII, and from then on I was just completely hooked on the series. This is actually a prequel to the Final Fantasy VII remake from 2020. Starting off, we are getting introduced to Zack and his mentor Angel.
Zack!
There are 11 unmissable trophies tied to just completing the chapters.
Zack, focus.
Shortly after, we get our very first trophy for beating the first set of stormtroopers in the game. Woo! After a pretty epic quote,
Embrace your dreams.
we're in our next trophy for completing the prologue. Easy peasy. I recommend every time you complete a chapter that you save in a new slot. This way you can always go back if you miss any of the chapter specific trophies or collectibles. Next trophy on the list is a missable trophy, Hero of the Wutai War. This is actually pretty simple in chapter 1, simply defeat all the enemies when you're in the castle area. Next up, chapter 1 cleared and our next trophy. Near the start of chapter 2 we have the opportunity to start some of the missable missions. You need to unlock these missions by speaking to a researcher on the soldier floor. Completing his set of missions and turning them in will give you one of the flower wagon parts which are needed for a later trophy in chapter 7. Next I go to talk to 3 different fan club members. You need to join all 5 fan clubs in the game along with getting a medal from them. You get the medals automatically when you join the clubs. You need to get a mail from each center throughout the game. Luckily there are only 6 missable mail centers, and 5 of those are from the fan clubs. Here I am, completing another set of missions. You need to talk to this soldier before chapter 7. Completing them and talking to the soldier again gives you the next flower wagon part.
A routine job, right? No sweat.
I wonder.
Are you
Continuing through
Angel's
chapter
mother?
2, we meet Angel's mother.
My name is Zack.
After the cutscene, we get to interact with these objects lying around the area. We need to interact with all of them before we get to the factory. This is a step required for earning a trophy later.
Settle down. Zack the puppy.
Okay, next trophy, we're gonna slice 10 incoming shells. If you miss one of them, you can just simply reload the checkpoint and try again. Mandatory phone flip.
The shelling has stopped. I've just received word. The airstrike is commencing. Hurry.
So right after this trophy, we're going to pick up the glowing items, and we can only pick them up if we interacted with them earlier in the previous step. And another trophy unlocked.
Angel!
Classic. Zack screaming Angel's name over and over through the whole game.
That abhors you and I.
Shut up!
After a little boss fight, we get the last cinematic for this chapter. And we get a trophy. So, in the start of chapter 3, we're gonna talk with Hojo and complete the different fights he has for us. Shortly after, we unlock Materia Fusion, which is unmissable, and we get, of course, a trophy. Before we take the elevator up to Lazard and progress the story, we need to talk to the soldier and complete the missions he unlocks for us. Completing these missions and talking to him again unlocks another flower wagon part. So we progress the story, save some civilians, meet Cisne, and we're gonna save the last civilians for a trophy. Skip. And again, this is also a missable trophy like all chapter specific trophies. They can only be earned during that chapter. Since there's no chapter select, we gotta make those saves at the end of each chapter so you can go back if you miss anything. Here we get another badass cinematic.
Oh, that's hot. That's hot.
Oh, it's so badass.
Angels dream of one.
A bit later, we get face to face with Angel and complete the chapter. Woohoo!
Hello.
So, next up is chapter 4. This is the chapter with the most missable trophies. We need to talk to all shop owners, wait for a girl 10 times, receive this trophy right here by completing the minigame in under 14 seconds, and then we need to mix perfume 3 times perfectly without miscounting. I recommend making a backup save between each successful attempt, and then we guess some numbers here and get the bingo trophy. It's actually just the number that's mentioned twice is the correct number. Flip phone!
Zack, return to the Shinra building now. Genesis has attacked us.
On my way.
If you got enough affection points with Aerith while in the slums, you'll get a trophy when Bruno says that you and Aerith will make a great couple. The next part and the last part of the chapter takes place in Hojo's laboratory. Here we can get 3 different trophies. The first is Precise Restoration, which is basically just a small minigame. The other one is answering 3 questions. And the third and last one is actually a bit more tricky. You need to equip the steel materia and then start the minigame by interacting with the console. You'll then have to steal some keys from 6 enemies and open the cells and loot all the chests for the trophy. After another summon materia boss fight, we complete the chapter, get the chapter cleared screen, make a backup save and get our trophy. Next up is chapter 5 and one of the hardest trophies in the game. If you suck at minigames, then this is gonna be tricky. You need to time all your squats and beat all 4 opponents for the trophy. It's gonna take a couple of tries. You bet. No. Then we go to the Loveless Avenue and start a little side quest. We need to find 6 different spies, and in the process we unlock 6 missable missions and a piece for the flower wagon. And of course a trophy. So right after getting the trophy, if we go around here, we find the next fan club member, which is actually number 4. So we only need 1 more after this one.
Hey, wait a minute.
Before we head out on mission and continue the chapter, we're gonna talk to different characters around the different maps to unlock some more missions. And then if I go down here and talk to this reporter to the right, if you choose not to report him, which you should, you get mails from him. So he's the 6th missable mail sender in the game, besides the 5 fan clubs. Here you can see a talk with more NPCs around the maps and unlock the last missions for this chapter. There are a total of 6 different characters you need to talk to unlock these missions, all in the same mission group, which are M21. So, after I have unlocked all these missions, I complete them, and then I need to talk to this guy again, and he will give you a flower wagon part, which again I needed later in chapter 7 for one of the missable trophies.
I'm not.
Boom. With that part collected, we continue the main story. We get to this area where we need to sneak around and move around without getting spotted, and while collecting all the chests in the area. Pretty simple trophy. You can save beforehand and reload your save if you miss the trophy.
Zack, you have my thanks.
Whoops, spoiler alert. Remember, it's just a game.
This for you.
It's just a game. It's just a game. Why they do my boy like that? So after an emotional breakdown, we get a trophy for completing chapter 5. In chapter 6 we only have 2 things we need to be aware of. We get the missable trophy, immovable object, by defeating all 30 enemies before they reach the end of the bridge. And then we're gonna turn around right after, go up an elevator and talk to Cisne. If you don't talk to Cisne, then you won't be able to join the 5th and last fan club in the next chapter. And here we go, chapter 6 complete. Now we get to chapter 7, which is the point of no return for many of the missable missions and trophies. So right here I get the fan club savior trophy by talking with some different fan clubs. Next I go to the Shinra building and talk to the receptionist to join my very own fan club. And this is only possible if you talk to Cisne in chapter 6. Remember to talk to the guy in the suit right behind me. He'll unlock another mission. After crafting the first story-related flower wagon, we get asked by a guy in the Shinra building if we want to continue and go out on the mission. Choose no, return to Aerith and craft the last 2 wagons for the trophy. That concludes chapter 7 and unlocks the next chapter trophy. In chapter 8 we need to complete 6 out of the 7 wonders. The 7th wonder is located in chapter 9. Some of the wonders can be a bit annoying to complete. Completing the first 6 wonders will give you some different materia and accessories. Further into the chapter we get to the boss fight with
Sephiroth! What the hell happened to you?
Woo! Yeah, baby! That's what I've been waiting for!
And you guessed it, we get another trophy for completing the chapter. If you complete the first 6 wonders for the boy in chapter 8, then you'll get a mail from him which will lead you to this location. Picking up the materia will unlock the 7 wonders expert trophy. So a bit later we get to another kind of minigame. As you can see, it's the sniping minigame. We need to take out all the enemies with the sniper without any of them fleeing. And then by the end of this area we'll get the trophy. I recommend using the kill points to upgrade the damage of the sniper. It's essential for killing the enemies quick enough. Another classic scene that makes absolutely no sense.
No way. He just ate my hair.
Yep, that's Final Fantasy.
This is Gungaga!
And that too. Then after a cutscene with Cisne, we run over here to collect the only missable shop in the game. Shortly after, we move up a hill and get a cutscene. Yeah, with some familiar faces. Afterwards we need to complete 7 combat encounters in the same area, and then when we try to leave, we get prompted with this waterfall minigame. And we get the waterfall chaser trophy. So that's it for the missables and chapter specific trophy of chapter 9. Moving on, we get another boss fight, this time with Hollander. And then we complete the chapter and get the trophy for, of course, beating chapter 9. And now we reach the final chapter of the game, chapter 10. There's actually only 1 missable trophy in this chapter. To earn the trophy you need to interact with 4 gravestones. Afterwards, we head to this area and defeat some enemies dropped by crystals. They are pretty high levels, so be careful. And that was the last missable trophy in Crisis Core. So now we're going to complete a bunch of missions, and while doing so you get the last medals and unlock the last couple of shops. When I was going for one of the DMV images, I ended up getting the overpowered trophy, which is for damaging the max possible damage in the game. When I was around 25% of the completed missions, I got the last of the DMV images for another trophy.
Conflict resolved.
Oh yeah!
So the next step can be a bit annoying. You need to equip some purple materia that heighten your emotions towards a specific character. This will help you get them to appear in the DMV and get the last couple of flashback scenes you need for another trophy. Getting all of the flashback scenes will give you yet another trophy and also a piece of Genji equipment. When you are completing all of the missions, you'll get the rest of the medals unlocked and you'll get the rest of the shops, as you can see here in the video. Next, I completed a lot more missions in order to level up and collect some good accessories to prepare for the super boss fight.
Another one. Another one. Another one. Another one. Another one. And another one.
Yeah. So you get the idea. It's super boring and very repetitive. So we fast forward a couple of hours again and let's see where we are at. This gotta be one of the most repetitive platinum trophies ever. It's so draining. Then I completed the last of the missions and collected 2 more pieces of Genji gear for the boss fight. For this fight I have the costly punch and the mug materia. Everything else isn't really that important. You're gonna steal 99 Phoenix down and that way you're pretty much immortal the whole fight. So besides that I just keep using costly punch and whenever I die I use another Phoenix down. And it's not necessary to have like maximum stats like some claim. I had about 230 for vitality and spirit, which was fine for the fight. And that's how you cheese the hardest boss in the game. Easy peasy. So after this I get the trophy for completing all missions and then I'm gonna sell what I have left of accessories so I can afford the last piece of Genji equipment, which is the Genji helm. Now we only have one trophy left to earn, which is completing the game on hard difficulty. Simply just change the difficulty to hard before the final boss fight. I don't think they will patch this, but you never know. So you should be pretty overpowered at this point and complete the last boss easily. Just spam any attack you want. You will probably crit maximum damage with every attack. So defeating the first boss and then, yes, the same boss again, Genesis. Then we have one more fight until we get the platinum.
Emotional, damn it!
Here we are at the end of the road.
Boy, oh boy.
Many gamers will surely recognize these next couple of scenes.
Whatever happens.
Remember, it's just a game. It's just a game.
As soldier!
Like it wasn't enough to go through this back in 2007. Why you do this?
You'll be my living legacy.
It's going to be very exciting to see what they do in the Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2 and see what they do with Cloud and Zack.
My name is Cloud. Soldier. First class.
That's the whole game. That's Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion. Why you do this, Square Enix? And we're done. We completed the game, earned every trophy, and I would just like to say thanks for watching, and please stay tuned on the channel for more great content.